Okay, so you're probably thinking, here I am in my pajamas, and yes, these are Christmas sloths, holding a fresh cup of coffee, and it's clearly dark outside. I'm probably just waking up and getting ready to start my day. After all, that would make sense. Well, it's actually the opposite. My day is almost done. I'm winding down before bed, and this cup of coffee is to help me sleep. Hi, I'm Mike Nason, Chief Financial Officer of Sleepytime Coffee, the coffee company that's about to turn the coffee industry upside down and change the way you and millions of Americans think about coffee. The other night, my wife and I were out to dinner, and she said she'd love to have a cup of coffee after we finished our main course. With dessert, of course. But that she couldn't, or she'd never get to sleep. Though, let's be clear, she still had the dessert. My wife suffers from caffeine sensitivity, where too much caffeine can induce insomnia and ruin a perfectly good night's sleep. Or what about my friend John, who had to fly from Seattle to New York for an 8 a.m. business meeting the next day? At 11 p.m. in his hotel room, he knew he should be in bed, but he wasn't tired. His body was still on Seattle time and thought it was only 8 p.m. What to do in a situation like this? My wife considered having decaf coffee, but have you ever noticed how decaf coffee doesn't have that full-bodied taste and flavor of regular coffee? My wife has. She's not a fan. John considered having a beer or two to help him sleep, but this isn't a good option as alcohol can mess with sleep as well. They both thought having a great tasting coffee that helps you get a good night's sleep would have been a great option, and they're not alone. In a recently conducted survey, 74% of respondents said they'd enjoy a cup of coffee that helped them fall asleep. That's great, but there's one problem. There's no coffee product on the market today that helps with sleep, but Sleepytime Coffee is about to change this. So who is Sleepytime Coffee? Well, we're a Seattle-based coffee company whose mission is to improve the quality of people's lives by offering a great tasting, relaxing coffee beverage that facilitates a good night's sleep. To do this, we start with organic, fair trade certified Cascadia coffee beans that we source from Swiss Water Decaffeinated Coffee Company out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Swiss Water Decaffeinated Coffee Company decaffeinates the coffee beans using, you guessed it, the Swiss water process. Their proprietary process that is chemical-free and uses only water, temperature, and time. This process removes 99.9% of the caffeine and, more importantly, leaves the full coffee flavor intact. A lot of other decaf coffee companies use a chemical decaffeination process that strips out not only the caffeine, but also much of the flavor, leaving the coffee with an unfulfilling taste I mentioned earlier. Our beans are then roasted to a medium roast for maximum flavor, and after roasting they are ground and infused with organic valerian root. Valerian root is an all-natural product that has been used for centuries as an herbal sleep aid, and it's also an FDA-approved food additive. The resulting coffee is both great tasting and helps with sleep, something that would benefit both my wife and my friend John, and a lot of other coffee drinkers as well. Our coffee will be available in both 10-count K-Cup packages and 12-ounce bags, and will be sold at prices comparable to other gourmet coffees currently on the market. Our coffee can be purchased online at our website or Amazon Marketplace, as well as from retailers such as Bed Bath & Beyond, Whole Foods, and other grocers. Now that you know who we are and what we make, let's talk about our industry, the coffee production industry. As you may have guessed, the coffee market is rather large. After all, coffee is the most consumed beverage in the U.S. So how large is large? Try $13.1 billion in annual revenues and $2.1 billion in annual profits. That's right, billions of dollars. The tea industry, by comparison, generates $530 million in revenues and $28 million in profits. You may be wondering why I mentioned the tea industry, but I promise it'll be relevant, so please bear with me. The coffee production industry is a mature industry dominated by 4 companies: Keurig Dr. Pepper, the J.M. Smucker Company, Nestle, and the Kraft Heinz Company. Together, these 4 companies control over 45 different coffee brands, and they account for almost 65% of the market. The coffee industry is expecting to grow by 1.3% annually through 2023, and much of this growth is attributed to the third wave of coffee, which is focusing more on gourmet and specialty coffee drinks, such as organic, nitro, and cold brews. Also, the fastest growing segment of the coffee industry is decaffeinated coffee. The combination of these factors make it an exciting time to launch a product like Sleepytime Coffee, and will help us carve out a niche market in this billion-dollar industry. Additional information regarding both the coffee and tea production industries can be found in our business plan. So who do we envision buying our product? Our recent survey of prospective customers revealed 61% of respondents do not drink coffee at night due to the caffeine, similar to my wife. This is our primary target market: caffeine-sensitive gourmet coffee lovers, as well as younger consumers who tend to be more health conscious and watch their caffeine intake. To a lesser extent, we will also target those people looking for sleep aids, as well as travelers like my friend John who suffer from jet lag. Much of our marketing efforts will be via social media channels to target younger consumers who already dominate the decaf market. According to the National Coffee Association's 2016 annual survey, decaf coffee consumption was highest among 25 to 39-year-olds. This same survey 1 year later in 2017 indicated decaf coffee consumption was highest among 18 to 24-year-olds. So you're probably wondering who our competition is. You may find it interesting that our primary competitor isn't another coffee company. I mean, yes, we do compete with other coffee companies, and more specifically decaf coffee companies, as decaf is a nighttime coffee option. But they don't help with sleep at all, so they really aren't competing directly with our product. Rather, our main competition is a tea company, and more specifically Celestial Seasonings, the company who produces a variety of Sleepytime teas. Thus my previous reference to the tea industry when discussing our industry a couple of minutes ago. Celestial Seasoning produces 13 different varieties of their Sleepytime teas, but only one includes valerian root, while the others use some other combination of plants, herbs, and flowers. We don't believe other coffee companies will try to enter our niche market, or at least not immediately, due to the challenge of re-educating consumers that coffee can be a nighttime beverage, which is something we'll discuss in just a minute. Likewise, we don't believe Celestial Seasonings will attempt to enter the coffee market to compete with us either, as coffee is not their specialty. As I just mentioned, there is obviously one very large challenge inherent with our product. No one currently uses, or has ever used for that matter, coffee as a nighttime beverage to help facilitate sleep. In fact, this runs contrary to how coffee has been used throughout history. That said, we're confident this can be overcome through an aggressive consumer re-education campaign, and we have dedicated a substantial marketing budget specifically for this purpose. Additionally, now more than ever, coffee is being consumed at all hours of the day, so the movement away from coffee as a morning-only beverage has already begun. This is important because it means the concept of drinking coffee at night, or at least later in the day, won't be completely foreign to a lot of consumers. As there are no other coffee companies offering a similar product in the market today, when we successfully demonstrate that coffee can also be a nighttime beverage, and we will be successful in this endeavor, we'll garner the brand recognition that comes with being first to market. This first to market status can be beneficial in another way as well. One risk is that our business model, which outsources virtually all components of production, could be copied by other companies to create a competing product. Now, our reason for outsourcing production is to avoid the large capital outlays for sourcing and production that create a high barrier for entry into the coffee production industry, as well as to ensure our costs scale with our sales. By being first to market and establishing a dominant market position in our niche market, it makes it much harder for a similar business model to compete with our company. We've talked a lot about the various aspects of our business, but what's the bottom line? This is my favorite part to talk about because, well, I'm the CFO, and this is my bread and butter. First, let's look at a chart of the first 5 years, with net sales in blue, operating expenses in red, and net income in green. You can see the first 2 years don't look great, but during this time we're spending a lot on marketing for our consumer re-education campaigns and to get the word out about our product. Also, we're not projecting to begin selling our coffee until the second quarter of 2020, while most expenses begin immediately. While years 1 and 2 don't look great, you can see the trend over the 5 years that continues on an upward trajectory, and we expect that to continue beyond 2024. Looking at the actual financials, you'll note our single largest expense in any year is marketing, as we need to continually advertise our product to drive increases in sales. The other large expense is salaries, which remains flat over the 5 years. This represents a $50,000 per year salary to each of the 5 co-founders, who are also projected to be the only employees of the company over that time. We all believe in this company and are investing a lot of our time and own money to make it a reality, but ultimately, we do have to live and pay bills, so a minimum salary is a necessity. You'll notice our company becomes profitable in 2022, and from a cash flow perspective, this is also the year in which our company becomes cash flow positive. At the end of the first 5 years, our company will be life-to-date profitable, with a 5-year combined operating margin of 4.5%. More detailed financial information can be found in our business plan. Now that we've discussed the financials, let's look at the milestones that will get us to these projections. Beginning in 2020, we're going to launch our aggressive consumer re-education campaign to bring awareness that coffee is now a nighttime beverage. We're also going to launch online sales through our company website and Amazon Marketplace. Online sales are very important for our cash flows, as payments from these online sales are received almost instantly, whereas payments from sales to retailers have a lag of anywhere from 60 to 90 days. Online payments allow us to continue producing product while waiting for payments from retailers. Also in 2020, we'll establish a presence in retailers in the West region, beginning our region-by-region product rollout. In 2021, we will continue to focus on growing online sales, while also expanding our retailer presence to the Midwest region. Also in 2021, we will begin establishing partnerships with airlines and hotel chains to carry our products for their guests. In 2022, we will further expand our retailer presence to the East region and also expand our airline and hotel chain partnerships. In 2023, we will expand our retail presence to the South region and also begin planning for future product improvements and/or expansions. In 2024, we will have our products available at retailers nationwide. We will also begin implementing product improvement and/or expansion to further grow our business in the future. Now let me introduce you to the team that is going to make this a reality and make you money in the process. Philip Baggett is our Chief Executive Officer. Philip has years of leadership and logistics experience as a transportation officer in the Army. Currently an airline captain, Philip frequently uses data to make time-critical decisions that have a direct impact on the safety and efficiency of operations. Christina Takushi is our Chief Marketing Officer. Christina has many years of experience as a product manager and has managed multiple products from development to launch and sustainment, and she has experience in developing and executing marketing campaigns. Carla Romero is our Chief Operating Officer. Carla has more than 10 years of experience in project and operations management. Currently a Senior Operations Manager, Carla is responsible for overseeing the day-to-day operations of the business as well as administrative responsibilities. Jordan Kibbe is our Chief Information Officer. Jordan has considerable experience in quality assurance, IT services, and HR. She has been involved in the selection, implementation, and support of various systems ranging from IT to client data analytics and employee management. And lastly, myself, as the Chief Financial Officer. I have more than 20 years of corporate finance and accounting experience in companies with annual revenues ranging from $5 million to over $3.5 billion, and have managed all aspects of the accounting cycle, accounts payable, payroll, tax, and treasury. This team has all the necessary skills and experience to make Sleepy Time Coffee a huge success. Well, my friends, the time has finally come. The ask. What we're asking from you is an equity investment of $800,000 in exchange for a 40% ownership stake in Sleepy Time Coffee. The 5 co-founders will also be contributing an additional $600,000 of our own money towards Sleepy Time Coffee, because we truly believe in the potential of this company. This combined $1.4 million will be sufficient to cover both the startup costs and working capital needs until the company becomes cash flow positive. The vast majority of both your and our initial investment will be used to produce inventory for sale. This is due to the nature of a production industry, where an initial cash outlay is required to produce the product before it can be sold and the cost of production recouped. The remaining amounts will be used to cover marketing and salary expenses until cash from sales is sufficient to cover these costs. I'm sure you're thinking this all sounds great, but what kind of return are you getting for your investment? And that's a great question. As you can see from this slide, the total return over the first 5 years is 8%, which admittedly is nothing spectacular. But for the patient investor, there is a substantial return to be had. If you recall from the graph I showed you when discussing the financials, the first 2 years reflected net losses, while the last 2 years reflected significant and growing net income. The substantial return on your investment comes in years 6 through 10, where the 5-year total return of 8% will grow to a 10-year total return of almost 140%. This 10-year return is calculated using the year 5 financial performance from the income statement that you saw and carrying it forward through years 6 through 10 with no growth built in. In other words, this is a conservative estimate. We're hopeful you'll recognize this for the fantastic opportunity it is, and we would love to do business with you. I appreciate your time, and thank you for allowing me to go through this presentation with you. I'm about done with my coffee, and I'm starting to feel sleepy, so it's time for me to say goodnight. Thank you.